All right, so subtraction is exactly the same process as addition. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is factor first. So I'm going to look at this denominator right here. There are only two terms, so I'm going to look for perfect squares. 2 is not a perfect square, so I'm just going to look for a GCF. What do x squared and 2x have in common? And that's just x. Okay, so I factor that out. I'm going to cross it out. Then this right side, there's also a GCF. 2 times x minus 2. Okay, so my LCD is what's common times what's uncommon. So what do both of those denominators have in common? They both have x minus 2. What is uncommon? Okay, so now that I have the x minus 2's were common, I'm left with what's uncommon, which was 2 and x. So I'm just going to write those in front. Again, it doesn't really matter what order you write them in, whether it's common times uncommon, but typically the monomial goes in front. Okay, so now we got to think, what is missing from each denominator that is in the LCD? So the first fraction is just missing the 2. So I'm going to multiply this one by 2 over 2. Okay? 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 2 is 4. All over our LCD. The second fraction is missing the x. So I'm going to multiply by x over x. X times x is x squared. Okay? And then x times 2 is 2x. All over 2x times x minus 2. So now here's the tricky part, is when we put our numerators together, that subtraction sign needs to be applied to everything following it in that fraction. So this negative sign goes to the x squared and makes it negative. The negative goes to the 2x and makes it negative. So we have negative x squared. Then we have 2x minus 2x, so that cancels. And then we have plus 4 all over our LCD. Okay? Now, in math, you never really want your leading term, especially if it's an x squared, you never really want it to be negative. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to factor out a negative. And that's going to turn this into x squared minus 4. Okay, I don't really want my x squared term to be negative. Now, I can factor. So this becomes x minus 2 times x plus 2. That's the difference of perfect squares. And then the last step, I can cross things out. And I'm left with negative x plus 2 over 2x. And that's my final answer. Okay, so the only thing that's different with subtraction is that when you combine your numerators, you need to apply that negative sign to everything after it. It's not always going to happen where the leading term is negative like that. That's a little bit different. But just for the process of subtracting rational expressions, make sure you apply that negative to every single thing that follows after it. Okay, we did that actually on the front too with this little negative right here. Okay, we took that negative and we applied it to the 2x, 5x minus 2x. It just so happened there's only one term. Make sure that negative sign goes to everything. Okay, that's something that people mess up with frequently on the quizzes and tests, so just be careful.